The Battle of the Thermophylae. The Persians were looking for revenge. After the Athenians won against the Persians under their king Darius I in the Battle of Marathon 490 BC, Darius' son, the Persian King Xerxes, planned a revenge campaign against the Greeks. Their defeat at Marathon the Persians didn't want to sit on, so the Persian army invaded Greece in the year 480 BC. For this, the Persian crossed the Hellispont. This is a strait between Greece and today's Turkey. Then they moved through Thrace, Macedonia, Thessaly and Achaia to Poleis. The Athenians had now allied for the first time, with other city-states called Poleis and also with Sparta. The Thermophylae is a bottleneck between the Calidromos Mountains and the Gulf of Mali. In antiquity it measured about 50 meters. The Greek fleet had to face the Persian fleet in the Strait of Artemisium, also a bottleneck, and prevent the Persian fleet from falling in the back of the Greek infantry. The Greek fleet under the direction of the Athenian Themistocles consisted of about 200 ships. The Persian fleet consisted of about 600 to 800 ships. Leonidas started his defense at the beginning of August 480 BC with a troop of Spartans, and the fleet now moved to the Strait of Artemisium. Leonidas had with 300 Spartans as bodyguards, about 6,000 to 8,000 soldiers. The Persians' army were about 100 to 200 men. The position of the Greek in the pass was at a very small spot, a place that was perfect for the Greek war strategy, because they fought in the phalanx, a closed linear battle formation of the heavy infantry, the hoplites. The Greeks were very well armored and had an excellent morale. The Persians had various types of equipment. The light infantry was made for an open field. The only weak point of the Greek strategy was the local choice of the Thermophylae for the battle, because there was a mountain trail through the Calidromos mountains, which were allowed an encirclement. So Leonidas sent soldiers to go to the pass. In August 480 BC, it came to the 3-day Battle of Thermopylae.
The first day ashore, Xerxes started the battle with a monumental archer wall, but thanks to the almost perfect armor of the Greeks, it protected them perfectly. The Greek equipment consisted of a Corinthian helmet. This is a pure bronze cast helmet, covering almost the entire head. Their chest covered a laminar shell. It was, as the name implies, made of several layers of leather, lime, fabric, and bronze, and was very robust. Their shield was called hoplite. This was made of wood, which was used with bronze. As weapons served the dory and the xipel. The dory was a spear about 2 meters long, which had a bronze tip at both ends. The xipel was a double-edged short sword about 90 centimeters long, which served as the second weapon.
Go.
After the unsuccessful archery, Xerxes sent in several waves, thousands of his light infantry against the Spartans' heavy Greeks. The Persians ran wave after wave against the Greek army, but they weren't able to do anything against the phalanx of the Spartans. So wave after wave were killed and slaughtered. Themistocles was warned that Xerxes was outnumbering king with 600 to 800 Persian ships against 200 Tridents. Also, he knew that he had to hold the position to prevent them from falling into the back of the Greek troops. He attacked the Persians in the late afternoon. This attack surprised the Persian fleet. Many ships of the great Persian fleet couldn't order quickly enough, and the Greek fleet rammed and sank one Persian ship after another. The Persian fleet hadn't got enough time to be successful against the Greeks. At the end of the day, Themistocles had many losses, unlike the Persians.
After the big losses of the first day, Xerxes wanted to prevent more victims and put an end to the Greek defense. For this, he sent the Persian elite into the field. Xerxes was sure that just their existence crushed the defense of the Greek troops. After all, their mortals weren't on the field through the whole Persian Empire. 10 years ago, at Marathon, they had already forced Miltiades and the Athenians to use a different tactic. But the things turned different. The Greeks, led by 300 Spartans, didn't step back. The collision must have been extreme. Two absolutely elitist units met at that time. But as on the first day, the Spartans left the Persians no chance, and everybody of the Persians were killed. Second day, sea battle. At the sea, it didn't look very bright for Themistocles. After the naval battle ended on the second day, the Persians had major losses, but it were the Greeks who had too many deaths to complain about. For a long time, Themistocles wouldn't be able to hold the position anymore. For this, he needed more ships. Day 2 after the battle, evening. Unluckily, the evening of the second day, the Greeks were betrayed by one of their own, a man from Mali called Ephialtes. He told Xerxes about the narrow mountain path through the Hellispont mountains, which lead directly into the back of the Greek defense position. So Xerxes sent a troop of immortals on that way to get to the back of the Greeks, to surround them, and at least to break the phalanx and destroy them. To show you this, we explain you here the way of the troops of Xerxes as they use the narrow path over the Hellispont mountains to get behind the Greek troops. Leonidas had sent Greek troops to this path, but they retreated to their home village because they believed that the path would be attacked. When Leonidas was taught about the situation, he realizes that the battle was lost. However, not all Greeks were allowed to die, so he sent most of the Greek fighters back, slowly squatted troop after troop, until only the 300 Spartans and about 700 Thespians, these are other Greek soldiers, stayed behind the Thermophylae. They secured the retreat for the greater part of the Greek army. The Spartans were at war at that time that no one of them would survive the battle. Even Themistocles with his naval fleet retreated back then. His job of preventing the Persians from attacking the Greek troops in the back was done as soon as the Greek position was relinquished. Third day Asher. On the third day, the 300 Spartans and the 700 Thespians went in the phalanx against the Persian supremacy, a moment that is even celebrated in today's films. So the Persians attacked again, and the frontal attacking immortals were first pushed back. Only when more Persians came over the path and fell in the back of the Greeks, then the Greek formation broke.